Oh, what's up, guys? A little bit of a different video here today. We're going to talk about the John Mayer guitar pick, and I'm sure most of you, if you've been on social media the last 5-6 months, you have seen advertisements for this pick that's being basically as endorsed by John Mayer, and it's by a company called BlueChip. And I bought one of these things. Curiosity got the best of me, and this is it. BlueChip. I went with the TD35, typical traditional teardrop shape, 35 1/1000ths of an inch. I think that's what it is. I think that's how they measure it. But anyways, I wanted to see, have these guys lost their minds? What does a $40 guitar pick sound like? What does it feel like? What does it do that your standard pennies valued guitar pick, what does a $40 guitar pick do that one of these traditional guitar picks made of nylon, Delrin, whatever, what does it do? What does it sound like? Is it worth $40? That's what we're going to talk about today. All right, so I have used a lot of different guitar picks over the years, not just shapes, but also different materials. And the one guitar pick that I've owned that really stood out as being vastly different from anything else that I really enjoyed playing, but wasn't the most practical guitar pick, was a polished stone guitar pick. And it was super thin, kind of transparent looking with some speckles of whatever minerals were in the stone, but I ended up dropping it and it shattered into about 4 different pieces and was basically unusable after that. And I never really bothered getting another one just because it would probably just get broken again, to be honest. I'm not kind of careful with these things. So, but the thing with that guitar pick was that it was extremely thick and compared to a guitar pick, and it would glide across the strings just effortlessly, and it had a sound to it that was just buttery smooth but still very articulate. And it's still a sound that I can vividly recall the sound in my head and how it felt going across the strings. But it was very difficult to play with in terms of just, you couldn't really strum normal chords with it the same way you can with a traditional guitar pick. But for picking notes, nothing could touch that thing in terms of just how good it felt to play. So that's kind of the standout pick in my playing experience that I kind of look back on and say that was truly different and an exceptional experience, but not the most practical experience. Now, here comes BlueChip. Does this thing fall into that same category? Well, it depends on what you want from a guitar pick. I think that they've done a good job of kind of getting all of the different shapes of popular guitar picks. You've got your, I think, your tortilla chip looking one. You've got your Dunlop Jazz shaped ones, and you've got finger pick models. You've got a bunch of different models to choose from, but I wanted to put it head to head against a pick shape and thickness that I'm familiar with. So I typically use these green DAddario picks. This is a brand new pick, and it is the Delrin material, which I believe is kind of like a nylon type thing. But I like it because it's stiff enough that I can be aggressive with it and not feel like I've got like a piece of paper kind of folding under my fingers. But it's got just enough flex with it that I don't have to hold it too lightly when I'm doing big chords to get it to kind of like get across all the strings. So for me, the green gator grip has always been my go-to, and when I decided, I was like, I want to get some custom picks for our band logo that we can give to people, whatever. The green Delrin DAddario was what I ended up going with, and they were about $50, but I got like 100 of them or something like that. It was a good price. And anyways, so that's what I've been using for over a year now, and I wanted to see, how does the TD35 from BlueChip, how does this compare to my green Durlin pick that I've been using? Okay, so here's where this thing has a couple of things going for it, and whether the things that it does have going for it are worth the price tag is going to be up to you to decide. So here's what this thing is like. It is the perfect shape if you're used to this. They are as identical as it gets. And the thickness, even though this is 35 1/1000ths, this one is 85 1/1000ths. And even though they're not exactly the same, they feel the same in the fingers. I can't tell the difference. So here's where this one is very different from this one. The BlueChip is a much stiffer guitar pick at the same thickness as the green pick. So right off the bat, you've got a little bit more rigidity with this compared to this one. And the biggest difference between these two is that I have been using this thing since June, and I can't tell that it's been used at all. These things, I will rip these things pretty much down to a nub, a blunt nub, in the span of, let's see, yeah, here's one, this one right here. So you can see this is about a day of playing right here, and it'll go down to a nub in a day. So that is big difference number one. This thing is crazy durable compared to the typical nylon or Delrin or whatever material. Let's just say the typical plastic guitar pick. How about that? So anyways, this thing is crazy durable compared to these other ones. So right off the bat, that's, in my opinion, one of the biggest strengths of this pick. The second thing is, this has a little bit more of a brightness to the attack of the sound, and it's very hard for me to kind of accurately translate what this difference in sound is with an electric guitar. So I'll grab the acoustic here, and I'll just play the acoustic and let you hear both a brand new green pick and the BlueChip. And at the last show that we played acoustic, the sound guy came up and he told me that he could immediately notice a difference, that the guitar was louder. And this was my normal Martin acoustic guitar, not one of the piezo guitars. So biggest difference that the sound man heard, he didn't know that anything changed, but he told me that I got louder, and it was because I switched to this pick after the first set. So let's go ahead and hear the two picks side by side. And I've already laid out kind of the physical differences, and after we hear it, I'll go over kind of what are my thoughts after playing it here in the studio and playing it on the stage. All right, hopefully this lavalier can kind of get you guys an accurate representation here. It's not exactly the most scientific setup, but hopefully you guys will get the idea. Okay, so this is the normal green guitar pick right here. And the BlueChip. right, so as you could hear, I don't know how well that translated to the microphones, but the BlueChip was a much louder, it was a much louder pick. The notes were louder, clearer, crisper, had just a lot more clarity to them. And again, this is something that if you're playing high gain, you're really not going to notice a difference. And that's sort of where the big caveat with this pick comes in, is that it works for certain styles of music. And for certain players, I do think that this is probably worth it. The one caveat to this, and the biggest struggle that that I ran into, was I'd kind of sweat a little bit during our shows, and even the acoustic shows that we played. And the reason that I've always used these picks and the Gator grips is because they don't slip in when I'm holding them, and this one does. And it reminded me immediately of why I don't play the kind of the typical smooth, kind of the Fender style nylon picks anymore, is because the pick wants to sort of like rotate around in the fingers, and it's just because I can't get a good grip on it. And once I started using the Gator grips and these other picks that are just made of kind of just like, it's not a rougher material, but it's just got something with the way the material feels, and the texture of it, it doesn't slip in my grip. And that's kind of why I've always used these and never really ventured out into other picks. But I wanted to try this thing, and immediately when I took it out of the bag, I was like, oh, this might be a problem on stage. And it turns out it was for me. So I did have a little bit of issues with it, wanting to turn around and slip in my fingers, but I made it through the second set perfectly fine with it, and probably won't be taking it on stage again. Probably going to stick with the good old green picks, also because if I drop this thing, if we're playing anywhere that's like a deck or something like that, guaranteed this thing is going through a crack in the deck, and that's $40 I'll never get back. So that was sort of my post-gig report, kind of an abbreviated version there, but that was the experience that I had with the BlueChip on stage. And like I said, I think if you play primarily acoustic music, I think that this thing is pretty legit. If you play clean bluegrass, light gain blues, the less gain that you play with, I believe the more difference that you're going to hear out of this pick. And again, if you're a player that sweats a lot and has, typically had issues with picks not wanting to stay in your fingers, this might not be the best option unless BlueChip come up with some different type of coating that they can put on this to help it not slip. I think that's kind of where I'm at with this thing. I'll still use it here at the studio, but I'm not taking it on stage, and I don't use it when I play with lots of gain. I can't hear a difference. Honestly, I can't tell a difference. Once I go past kind of like classic rock levels of gain, it's almost imperceptible, the difference between that pick and a normal guitar pick. So anyways, that's just kind of a quick review and my thoughts on the BlueChip, because I know that I saw a ton of these advertisements on social media, and like it was like, oh, it's the John Mayer guitar pick, and I was like, okay, well let's see what this is about. Let's see what in tarnation is the deal with the BlueChip. And now we all know. And if it's something that you think would actually be beneficial for you, try one out. In the grand scheme of things, yes, $40 is a lot for a guitar pick. But all I know is, like, we as musicians, we throw a lot of money around at dumb stuff that we don't need. And at the end of the day, this probably was something that I didn't need. It was something that I didn't need, but I was curious. I wanted to know. But if you are someone who plays, you play some acoustic, play some bluegrass, play, country and stuff like that with not very much gain, I think that this can actually have a pretty big impact on your sound. So anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.